I call PC Raymond Chick of Fulchester Traffic Patrol.
Police Constable Raymond Chick.
The defendant in this case is charged with spying. Squadron leader Colin Pardo has pleaded not guilty to an offence under Section 1 of the Official Secrets Act 1911. It is alleged that for a purpose prejudicial to the safety or interests of the state, he made notes relating to the performance of an operational guided missile, which might be, directly or indirectly, useful to an enemy. The notes in question were found in Squadron leader Pardo's possession after his car had struck a lamppost on the Fulchester bypass and he was rendered unconscious. The officer who first attended the scene was...
Raymond Chick, Police Constable 288, Fulchester Traffic Patrol, my lord.
Now, at about 8 p.m. on the 23rd of September last, you were patrolling the Fulchester bypass when you came across the scene of an accident, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Now, would you tell us about it and what action you took?
I saw a saloon car which had struck a lamppost dead on. I stopped and I went to the vehicle. The driver was slumped forward in his seat, apparently unconscious. A young woman was in the passenger's seat. She was conscious, but she seemed badly shocked.
Did you speak to her?
Yes, sir. But she answered in a foreign language and I couldn't understand her.
Now, could you identify this language?
I'm sorry, sir, no.
I see. Continue, please.
I called for an ambulance and the assistance of other officers. A short while later, I accompanied the driver and the passenger in the ambulance to Fulchester Central Hospital, where they were taken to the casualty department.
Did any conversation take place during this journey?
The woman spoke in English. She asked what had happened, and I told her. She said she didn't want to go to hospital. I said it was for the best and it wouldn't take long. She seemed anxious about it.
Now, did she ask after the welfare of the driver?
No, sir.
And after you arrived at the hospital?
They were placed in separate cubicles in the casualty department. I left them to speak to the casualty officer.
And when you returned?
The woman had disappeared.
What did you do?
Well, I searched, but she'd apparently just walked out. The driver was still unconscious, so after the doctor had examined him, I went through his pockets to try and identify him.
And were you able to?
Yes, sir. There were documents relating to a squadron leader in the RAF with a name and address.
Now, did you find anything else?
Yes, sir. A handwritten document which seemed to relate to a guided missile.
Now, what did you do?
Well, I was suspicious of the circumstances, so I contacted Fulchester Police Special Branch.
And as a result of this contact, what occurred?
Well, I was instructed to retain the document and remain with the driver. I did this, and later I handed the document to Group Captain Porterman, RAF Rushden Down.
Now, do you see the driver involved in that accident in court today?
I do, sir. The defendant, Squadron Leader Pardo.
Finally, I would like you to look at this photograph, if you would. This will be Exhibit 1, my lord. Now, do you recognize anyone in that photograph?
Yes, sir. The man is the defendant, and the woman's the same one that was with him on the night of the accident and later disappeared from the hospital.
Thank you, officer. Remain where you are, please.
Did you speak to the defendant at any time?
No, sir. He'd not recovered consciousness when I was relieved by 2 RAF police officers.
Yes. Now, you say that the girl did not ask after the driver's condition.
She did not, sir.
Did that surprise you?
No, sir. She could see that he was unconscious. People in shock don't act normally.
No. You're unable to identify the language the girl spoke, but perhaps we could narrow it down a little. For example, could it have been Chinese?
Oh, no, sir. It was sort of guttural, perhaps like German.
Like German? Thank you, officer. Now, this accident, did you form any opinion as to what caused it?
Well, sir, there was no other vehicle involved, and there were no tyre marks on the road. It seems that the driver lost control, or lost concentration, perhaps.
Yes, thank you. No further questions.
Does your lordship have any questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Dealey.
Thank you, officer. I call Group Captain Porterman, please.
Group Captain Porterman, please.
Group Captain Porterman, you are the commanding officer of RAF Rushden Down.
I am.
And as such, the accused is under your command.
Yes.
Now, how long has he been stationed at RAF Rushden Down?
Just over 4 years.
In what capacity?
As an AE, he's a qualified engineer. He's responsible for the maintenance and operational fitness of aircraft on his wing.
Now, does this include the weaponry attached to this aircraft?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Now, specifically, it includes an air-to-air missile fitted to the aircraft at RAF Rushden Down, which I believe is known by the nickname the Banshee.
That is so.
And he would have an intimate knowledge of this missile?
Yes.
Now, can we take it that Squadron Leader Pardo was familiar with the security regulations that covered his work?
Yes. 3 weeks to the day before the accident, I'd issued him with a booklet containing the latest amendments to RAF security regulations. He signed for these and to say that he was conversant with current regulations.
And in fairness, there is nothing unusual about this procedure.
No, every officer receives and signs for a copy of RAF regulations. As amendments are issued, he receives and signs for these, as I've said.
So Squadron Leader Pardo would have known that his possession of notes on matters subject to security regulations off camp was contrary to his instructions.
No doubt at all. In fact, 2 days after I'd issued him with the amendments, I heard him joking in the mess with an officer to the effect that regulations seem to cover everything except walking off camp with what might be held in a man's brain. No doubt they'd get round to this in time.
So he took a light-hearted view of these security regulations then?
No, I got the impression that he was making a valid point in a light-hearted way. That is something different.
Now, what was the first that you knew of this matter?
When I was approached by Fulchester police with the news of the accident.
And as a result of what you were told, what did you do?
I saw a senior police officer in my office. Later, I was given some handwritten notes. I instructed the guard commander to send 2 men to stay with Squadron Leader Pardo.
You placed him in custody?
Not at this point. He was merely under supervision.
A fine distinction, Group Captain.
Possibly, sir.
Very well. You accepted these notes and you placed him under supervision. Were these notes in his handwriting, the defendant's?
Yes, my lord.
And do you produce these notes?
I do.
These will be Exhibit 2, my lord.
And to what do these notes relate in general terms?
They were technical notes, sir, relating to data on the missile, the Banshee.
Thank you. Very well, Mr. Dealey.
I'm obliged, my lord. Now, having seen these notes, and having heard what the police officer had told you, what action did you take?
I called in my security officer, Squadron Leader Davis, briefed him, gave him the notes, instructed him to investigate the matter and report back to me.
And did he do so?
Yes, I then incorporated his report in my own to the Ministry of Defence.
Now, as commanding officer, you have wide powers to deal locally with breaches of discipline, even security, I believe.
That is so.
But on this occasion, you did not do so. Why was that?
Because the circumstances in this case seem to me too serious to permit me to do that.
Exactly. Now let us come, if we may, to the man himself, Squadron Leader Pardo. Now, I believe that you know this man particularly well.
Yes, I was a personal friend of his wife's father. We served together. Perhaps I know him better than some of my officers.
Now, in the period immediately prior to his accident, was he at all upset, perturbed?
My lord, my learned friend is leading his witness.
Yes, I agree. Some rephrasing is called for, I think, Mr. Dealey.
Very well, my lord. In the period over which this court is concerned, have you any comment to make about his general demeanour?
It would be fair to say that at the time of the accident, or rather just prior to it, he did seem unusually reserved, introspective, aloof almost, but this hadn't affected his work, and I put this down to domestic problems.
Now, why should you do that, Group Captain?
Because I knew that there were problems at home.
What sort of problems?
I don't think I'm the best person to answer that.
With respect, Group Captain, you are not the best judge of that. I do appreciate that all of this must be extremely distasteful to you, but your duty is clear, and that is to answer the questions.
You're right, my apologies.
Thank you. Now, to your knowledge, what was the nature of these domestic problems?
Well, Jane, Mrs. Pardo, seemed upset. I think because she suspected he was having an affair.
Do you know for certain that that was the reason for any strain that might have existed between them? Could there not have been other problems, financial ones, for example?
My lord, I object. If my learned friend's questions do not produce the answers that he'd like, he cannot then lead the witness into another channel which is more acceptable to him.
Quite so. And I am sure that you are aware of that fact, Mr. Dealey.
Very well, my lord. I shall approach the matter from another direction.
Good.
What is Squadron Leader Pardo's salary?
With allowances in the region of $3,500 a year.
Now, you know this family particularly well. In your opinion, did their standard of living reflect this sort of income?
Their standard of living suggested a salary rather higher than that.
I see. This did not concern you?
No, I knew that Jane contributed to the family finances. When her parents died, she was left fairly well off.
And presumably she still is.
I can't be sure of that. I assume so.
So Squadron Leader Pardo could be said to be absolutely financially stable.
I'm afraid not.
I see. Now, why do you say that?
Because I had occasion to speak to him about part of a mess bill that remained unpaid.
When was this?
This was 2 days before the accident.
So, Squadron Leader Pardo, earning, as you say, something in the region of £70 a week, was unable to pay part of his mess bill. Now, how much exactly was it that he could not pay?
The amount outstanding was £7.52.
Now, you've said that the defendant has been attached to Rushton Down for the last 4 years. Can you speak of his record prior to that?
Oh, yes. As his commanding officer, I hold a copy of his complete service record from the time he was commissioned.
Was there then, to your knowledge, a time when he was seconded to the Ministry of Defence?
He was seconded for 2 years.
And what was his work during that period, do you know?
Not exactly. The section he was with was a sort of what the Americans call a think tank, advanced planning.
Advanced planning for what? Can you say?
They work on possible technical developments during the next 10 years with a view to RAF requirements.
They decide the kind of equipment and weapons that the RAF is likely to use in the next decade, is that it?
Not decide, they consider and advise Her Majesty's government.
Yes, but would you say that this work was of a secret nature?
Oh, very much so.
Far more secret than work on the Banshee missile?
I would say so.
To your knowledge, has there ever been any suggestion that information has at any time been leaked concerning the work of that section?
Not to my knowledge.
And why did Squadron Leader Pardo leave the section, do you know?
He finished his term there. He was returned to a unit. That's perfectly normal.
In fact, it's true, is it not, that the defendant was promoted to his present rank on leaving the section?
That is true.
So no doubt you'd agree that Squadron Leader Pardo has had great trust placed in him, and that to date he has proved eminently worthy of that trust.
I would.
And he has an impeccable record.
He has.
But he has a weakness.
Yes, but then so do we all.
I take the point. In fact, you are aware, are you not, that Squadron Leader Pardo is a man who is attractive to women?
Yes, and regrettably, perhaps, also attracted by them.
Yes. And to your knowledge, has this in the past led to difficulties with his wife?
It has, yes.
How do you know this?
You must understand that I've known Jane since she was very young. I'm a sort of unofficial uncle, as it were. When her father died, it seemed that she made me her confidant. I was aware that there were problems.
And more recently?
Well, everything seemed to be fine for a time. Then apparently, about 2 months before the accident, it started again.
So, in your view, this was the cause of the disagreement between them, and not money?
That was certainly the cause as far as Jane was concerned. In Colin's case, it was also money because Jane had ceased contributing to the family finances.
Yes, but you had no doubt that Squadron Leader Pardo was having an affair with another woman at this time.
I had no doubt, and I spoke to him about it.
As his commanding officer or as a friend of the family?
No, as a friend. It hadn't affected his work, nor had it become public knowledge, so that officially I was in no position to broach the subject.
What did he say when you did broach the subject?
He said that he and Jane had talked it out. He was ending the affair.
Now, you've said that as commanding officer, you have wide powers to deal with breaches of discipline committed by those under your command.
That is so.
Now, if, as my client maintains, this were simply a matter of a moral slip, with no espionage involved, but with possible detrimental effect on the service, what might his punishment be in that case, do you think?
There are several possibilities. It could mean loss of seniority, perhaps, or transfer to another unit. It would depend on the circumstances.
Loss of seniority or a transfer? Are you aware that the maximum penalty for an offence under the section of the Official Secrets Act with which my client is now charged is life imprisonment?
Yes, I am.
Now let's turn to another matter. It was quite in order, was it not, for my client to make those notes that we've heard about?
Yes, it would be expected as part of his work.
And quite in order for him to have them off the base, to attend a meeting, perhaps, at which they would be used.
For that purpose, yes.
Yes, thank you. Now, I'd like to ask you some questions about this weapon that my client made the notes about, the banshee.
Yes.
Is it not a fact that, in the whole of its service, the banshee did not wail to very much effect?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Is it not true that this missile is hopelessly inefficient?
I think that would be a harsh evaluation.
You think so? Operational total failure rate, 47.8%. Could that statistic apply to the banshee?
I'm always rather dubious of statistics. They can be misleading.
Oh, well, would you look at this article, please?
I am familiar with the contents of the article. It was published about 18 months ago.
Yes, I would like to see that, please.
So we know, do we not, that 18 months ago the magazine Aeronautics International published details in that article of the construction, fitting and operational capabilities of the missile known as the Banshee.
That is correct.
Yes, I think this had better be entered as exhibit number 3, Mr. Harvester.
Yes, my lord.
Go on, enter the drawer.
Now, would it be true to say that the notes that Squadron Leader Pardo made would add nothing to the knowledge of anyone who had read this article?
That's a difficult question. Parts of the article suggest that the writer had specific and accurate information concerning the missile, but then again, other parts contain substantial errors.
Oh, how would you account for that?
Well, I can only surmise that the writer, in an effort to pad out the article, used his own judgment to extrapolate from the facts he had, and that this led to considerable inaccuracies.
To some extent, he was guessing.
I think so.
But you'd agree, wouldn't you, that it was pretty inspired guesswork?
It came fairly close to the mark.
So close that even complete knowledge would not have substantially altered the content of that article.
I think that's probably true.
To your knowledge, were those responsible for publishing the article ever prosecuted?
I think not.
So we can say then, can we not, that as secrets go, this missile was not very secret?
To a certain extent, I would say that was so.
In fact, of all the equipment in use at Rushton Down, this particular missile was, in view of this article that we've just seen, one of the least secret items.
Put in that way, I can only answer yes.
And Squadron Leader Pardo had access to and knowledge of other equipment at Rushton Down of far greater potential value to an enemy than the Banshee.
He did, yes.
You read those notes that Squadron Leader Pardo made, and
yes.
which were found in his possession?
Yes.
Can you be a little more explicit as to what they referred to?
Well, under test, the missile fell short of operational specifications. The notes refer to the degree to which it failed to operate to standard.
Yes. Exactly the sort of notes you'd expect to be made in order for my client to properly brief himself for a meeting with the manufacturers?
Yes.
Thank you. One final question. Is it not true that this ineffective, unreliable, and much publicized missile has now been withdrawn from service?
It has, yes.
Thank you, Group Captain.
Now, at the time that the defendant was found in possession of these notes, the missile was still in service,
Yes.
and thus, of course, still subject to security regulations.
Oh, certainly.
And Squadron Leader Pardo would have been well aware of this.
Without doubt.
Now, you've indicated that you were of the opinion that the defendant was conducting a sexual affair, presumably with the girl he was with on the night of the accident.
Yes, but I'd no idea who the woman was.
Now, do you still believe that he was conducting an affair?
I can't be sure now. It could be that he was meeting this woman for another purpose.
Thank you. Now, my friend has sought to create the impression that no information concerning the Banshee could conceivably be in any use to an enemy. Now, is that your view?
It's debatable. It could be argued that negative information has a value. It might, for example, be of assistance to an enemy to have official confirmation of the data contained in the article.
You've said that, in your opinion, part of this article was, in fact, guesswork.
Yes.
And you came to that opinion as an expert?
From my knowledge, yes.
Now, in your view, is that the likely opinion that any expert would have come to, having read the article, that part of it was guesswork?
I would say so.
So, you would agree, then, apart from negative information concerning the banshee being of value to an enemy, it would also be of value to an enemy to know to what extent the guesswork in this article was, in fact, accurate.
Yes.
Thank you, Group Captain. That is all.
Very well.
I call Miss Julia Gray.
Julia Gray, please.
What is your religion?
Church of England.
Take the book in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Miss Gray, you are employed as a senior interpreter by the Ministry of Defence.
Yes, I have charge of the European section.
Now, what does that entail?
Apart from supervising the functions of my department, I'm responsible for liaison with foreign embassies and consulates in connection with the provision of interpreting facilities.
And does your work involve you outside your own office?
Oh, yes, I'm a regular visitor to most of the embassies and consulates. I work directly with my opposite numbers. I know many of them personally, just about all of them, at least by sight.
I would like you to look at this photograph, Exhibit
Yes.
1, please. Do you recognize the woman in this photograph?
Yes, I do. I can't reveal her country of origin in open court. But her name is Leonora Kopek. She was employed at an East European embassy in London, nominally as an interpreter.
You say was.
Yes, on September 24th last, she boarded Aeroflot Flight 218 at London Airport, eventual destination stated as Prague.
Can you say that, Miss Gray? Were you actually at the airport to see her board that aeroplane?
Yes, I was, my lord.
I see. Now, you used the words, and I think I'm right, nominally as an interpreter. Are we to take it that she was not, in fact, so employed?
I don't think that was her true function, my lord, no.
Then perhaps you will tell us why not, Miss Gray.
Firstly, because during the 6 months she was here, she never, to my knowledge, worked as an interpreter. Secondly, because she's a graduate of Leningrad University and holds high academic qualifications in scientific subjects.
You are saying that she is too highly qualified to be an interpreter.
Not exactly, my lord. I'm saying that her qualifications are scientific in nature, and though she spoke good English, she held no qualifications in foreign languages.
I see. Thank you, Miss Gray.
I'm obliged, my lord. So, Miss Gray, if Leonora Kopek was not, in your opinion, an interpreter, what was she?
The evidence suggests to me that Leonora Kopek was an agent of her country's security service. A spy.
The case of the Queen against Pardo will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court. Appearing before the Crown Court is a serving RAF officer, and the offence alleged is that of espionage. Following an accident on the Fulchester bypass, notes were found in his possession relating to the performance of the Banshee, an air-to-air missile. It's been established that this missile was operationally inefficient. It has subsequently been withdrawn from service. At the time of the accident, Squadron Leader Pardo, a married man, was in the company of a young woman who later disappeared from Fulchester General Hospital before receiving medical treatment. It is alleged that this woman is Leonora Kopek and that she has now left the country. She has been identified by Miss Julia Gray, a senior government interpreter, who has said that Leonora Kopek was a spy.
Miss Gray, from your evidence, it seems that you may have understated the scope and coverage of your work. Is it not a fact that you are rather more than just an interpreter, albeit a senior one?
I described my work accurately.
But perhaps not fully?
In the interests of brevity, perhaps not fully.
I think we understand. Now, you seem to know a lot about this girl that you call Leonora Kopek. Is it within your knowledge that she ever used any other name?
The girl in the photograph is Leonora Kopek. No, I don't know of any instance of her using an alias, although it wouldn't surprise me.
I would be right in saying, would I not, Miss Gray, that there have been occasions in the past when members of foreign embassy staff have become involved in sexual affairs in this country?
I have no first-hand knowledge of that.
Oh, come now, Miss Gray. You read the newspapers, I'm sure. And if your knowledge of the personnel of foreign embassies is as comprehensive as you would have us believe, then you must be aware that such things have happened.
They have happened.
Quite. And what is the usual result when these things are discovered?
They're sent home.
Straight away on the first suitable flight?
Well, yes.
Just as Leonora Kopek was?
Yes, but in her case, not for that reason.
Oh, how can you be sure?
Because Leonora Kopek was an agent.
We only have your word for that, Miss Gray, and you offer precious little evidence to support this contention, mainly if I recall that she was academically gifted, and in 6 months you were not aware that she ever worked as an interpreter. But do you accept that she may have?
It is just possible.
Indeed. And is it not also possible that she was sent home not because she was an agent whose cover was blown, but simply because she was a young, attractive interpreter having a rather embarrassing affair with a serving RAF officer?
The Earth may have ceased to turn an hour ago, but all the evidence suggests it did not. However, I couldn't prove it did not, and therefore I would have to admit the possibility.
Please answer the question, Miss Gray. It is possible, is it not, that Leonora Kopek was sent home because of the discovery of her affair with the defendant?
I think my analogy was a fair one. It is possible she was sent home for that reason, but I don't think so.
Thank you, Miss Gray. Now, an earlier witness did hear Leonora Kopek speak, both in her own language and in English. He thought that her accent was German. Now, would it be fair to say that to a non-linguist, her English accent might suggest that she was, in fact, German?
It's not an unlikely error.
Finally, and I think I can look for an informed answer here, if Leonora Kopek was an agent, a spy, do you seriously think that she would have allowed herself to be photographed with her contact? Yes, Miss Gray?
I can only assume she wasn't aware it had been taken.
That's a possibility, yes.
Thank you, Miss Gray. I call Squadron Leader Davis.
Squadron Leader Davis, please.
What position do you hold at RAF Rushton Down?
I'm the station security officer, sir.
Just so that we are all quite clear, you hold the rank of a squadron leader, but are in fact an SIB officer, the equivalent to a CID officer in the civilian police.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Now, what do your duties consist of?
Well, I'm responsible for all matters relating to security on the camp, whatever form they may take.
Now, do you know the defendant?
Yes, sir?
Personally?
No, sir, we're not personal friends, if that's what you mean.
I see. Now, what was the first you knew of the matters that led up to these proceedings?
I was called to the commanding officer's office, and he asked me
I'm sorry to interrupt. Perhaps it was not your intention, but I must remind you that you cannot tell us what was said in the absence of the accused, but you can tell us what action you took as a result of it.
Yes, I understand, sir. He handed me some handwritten notes relating to the Banshee missile.
This was Group Captain Porterman?
Yes, sir. And on his instructions, I began an investigation into the allegations made against Squadron Leader Pardo.
Now, what form did this investigation take at this point in time?
I searched his office.
That's the defendant's office, Squadron Leader Pardo?
Yes, sir.
And?
I found a photograph of Squadron Leader Pardo and a woman, apparently taken at a party. I took possession of it.
Now, why did you do that?
Because the woman was not his wife, and I thought it may have some bearing on the case.
Now, is this an enlargement of the photograph? Exhibit 1, thank you.
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. And did you eventually interview that officer?
Yes, sir, I did on the 29th of September last.
That was 6 days after the accident.
Yes, sir.
What was the reason for the delay?
I didn't want to interview him until the medical officer had passed him as fit.
I see, and he had been passed as medically fit at the time of the interview.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Now, Squadron Leader Davis, if you would tell us what took place at that interview?
I made some notes on the questions and answers. May I refer to them?
Is were they made at the time of the interview?
Oh, yes, sir. I prepared a questionnaire in advance, and the accused wrote in the answers himself. He then signed the bottom of the sheet to the effect that he'd answered truthfully and correctly.
Yes. Well, I think you'd better produce the whole document, Mr. Daly, and it can be marked as exhibit number 4.
I'm obliged, my lord. Yes, Squadron Leader.
The interview commenced at 1100 hours in the security office at RAF Rushton Down. It terminated at 11:35. Officers present, the writer, Flight Lieutenant Cooper, and the accused. Question. What is your name, rank, and serving number?
Answer. Davis, don't trouble with the formalities, but just proceed to the relevant part of your questionnaire.
Yes, sir. My lord. Question. Were you on the night of the 23rd September last in your private motor car registration number?
I think perhaps you could assist this witness. You do have a copy of the questionnaire, do you not?
My lord, yes.
Then perhaps you can suggest a good starting place for his evidence, one leaving out extraneous matters.
Yes, my lord. I think if you were to commence with your question number 8, Squadron Leader.
Yes, sir.
Come along, Squadron Leader.
My lord, yes. Question. Is it true that on the night of the 23rd September last you had in your possession notes relating to the Banshee missile? Answer yes. Question. Are you aware that it is contrary to security regulations to be in possession of security-rated materials off camp? Answer yes. Question. If you were in possession of such notes off camp, why? Answer. To attend a manufacturer's specification meeting the following morning. Question. Where were you driving to when the accident occurred? Answer. I was just driving around, no particular destination. Question. There was a female passenger in the vehicle with you. What was her name and address? Answer. Unknown. Question. What was her relationship with you? Answer. None. She was a hitchhiker. Question. Have you ever communicated any information regarding the Banshee missile or any other classified material to this woman or any other person? Answer. No. Question. Are you in a sufficiently stable financial position to immediately discharge your debts? Answer. No. He then signed the questionnaire at the bottom to the effect that he'd answered truthfully and then handed it back to me.
And did you ask him any further questions on that day?
No, sir, not on that day, but after I'd seen Miss Gray, then I did.
Ah, yes. Now, when did you see her?
The day after I first interviewed Squadron Leader Pardo, I showed her the photograph that I found in his office.
And as a result of seeing her, what did you do?
I interviewed Squadron Leader Pardo again at 2 p.m. on the 1st of October.
And what transpired at this meeting?
I said to him, further information has come to hand. I do not think that you told the truth in this questionnaire. I handed the questionnaire to him, and he looked at it.
Did he reply?
Yes, sir. He said, oh, don't you? I said, do you wish to amend any of your answers to the questions? He said, no, I'd rather hear what you've got to say.
I see. Now, what was his general demeanor at this point in the interview?
He seemed perfectly relaxed and confident, quite unconcerned.
I see. And then what?
Then I showed him the photograph. This one.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I found this in a drawer in your office. The woman has been identified as the woman who was with you on the night of the 23rd September. He said, oh, hell, I'd forgotten that that was ever taken.
Did he offer any further explanation?
I asked him why he'd lied. And he said, all right, it doesn't matter anymore. Her name is Renata Scheckler. She's a German au pair. I met her at a party in London a couple of months back. We were having it off, but my wife found out, and it's all over now.
And did he still seem unconcerned?
He was, well, resigned, I suppose you'd say, sir.
Now, did you accept his explanations?
No, sir. No, I said, the name of the woman in this photograph is not Renata Scheckler.
Did he reply?
No, sir, he just looked at me. I said, her name is Leonora Kopek, and she has been positively identified as a foreign agent.
And what was the defendant's reaction to that?
He went white and started shaking, but he didn't say anything, he just stared at me. Then I said, Squadron Leader Pardo, this woman is a spy. He seemed to sort of sag, and then he said, oh my God, it was never worth it. Yes, sir, I did search Squadron Leader Pardo's house.
And his car?
Oh, yes, sir.
You did not mention this in your evidence in chief.
Oh, well, since I didn't find anything, I didn't think it was relevant.
So, well, let us see how many more things you have omitted. Was anyone other than RAF personnel present at your second interview with the defendant?
Yes, sir.
Who was that, please?
A gentleman from London, a Mr. Caulfield.
And in what capacity did this Mr. Caulfield appear?
He was an observer.
On whose behalf?
Well, it's usual in these cases for someone to be sent down from the ministry.
Let's not prevaricate, Squadron Leader. He was from one of our counter-espionage sections?
I don't think I'd better answer that question, sir.
You must answer this question, Squadron Leader Davis, and I'm sure Mr. Harvesty will not pursue the matter in open court into areas that would afford embarrassment.
Oh, quite so, my lord. Was he from a counter-espionage section?
Yes, sir.
And was it this mysterious Mr. Caulfield who put you in touch with Miss Gray, the previous witness?
Yes, sir.
And as a result of that, Miss Gray identified the woman in the photograph as Leonora Kopek, who, she alleges, is an agent.
Yes, sir.
So Mr. Caulfield played a significant part in your investigation.
Well, if you put it like that, yes, sir.
But again, you saw fit not even to mention this.
As I said before, I didn't think it was relevant.
Oh, I see. And thereafter you saw no more of him?
No, sir.
Which gives us an indication, does it not, of the importance which he, acting for his department, placed on this investigation.
My lord, I object. This witness can hardly be expected to say what Mr. Caulfield thought.
Yes, quite so. I think your previous question made your point, Mr. Harvesty.
I'm obliged, my lord. Now let's turn to another matter. You are a trained interrogator?
Well, interrogation is part of my training, sir, yes.
Now this business of preparing a questionnaire, getting the suspect to sign it, and then leaving him for a day or so before throwing his answers back at him, this is an accepted part of interrogation technique, is it? You were taught to do it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. In effect, you ask questions which beg an answer, make it easy to lie, and so arming yourself for the real investigation to follow.
Yes, well, I wouldn't put it quite like that, sir. You see, if the suspect tells the truth, then you can't use the questionnaire against him later.
Now, that's a very revealing answer. But didn't you consider that Squadron Leader Pardo might have lied, not to cover some breach of security, but to cover something else, an illicit affair, perhaps?
No, sir, not really.
Well, if you didn't, I'm sure this court will. Because, you see, this investigation, this interrogation of yours, it has a flaw. If the suspect lies for a reason not connected with your investigation, then you could come to a wrong conclusion, could you not?
Yes, I suppose so, if there were no other evidence. But in this case, there was. I mean, he practically admitted it.
Oh, no, he didn't, Squadron Leader? Do you have in mind, then, his reply when you told him that Leonora Kopek was a spy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, he said, "Oh, my God, it was never worth it." Was it this that you took to be an admission that he was passing information to Leonora Kopek for monetary reward?
Yes, sir. In all the circumstances, yes, I did.
But did it not occur to you that he might simply be expressing regret over his affair with this woman?
No, after all, he knew she was a spy.
No, he didn't. We've heard no evidence of that.
But he did. I told him.
Yes, you told him. Thank you, Squadron Leader. I have no further questions.
I have no re-examination, my lord.
You may stand down, Squadron Leader Davis. Thank you.
That concludes the case for the prosecution, my lord.
Very well. Yes, Mr. Harvester.
My lord, I call the defendant, Squadron Leader Pardo. Is part of your work accepting responsibility for the maintenance and operational standards of the Banshee missile?
Yes, sir.
Does that missile have a high reputation for efficiency and reliability?
No, sir, very low. It has a history of malfunction and has consistently operated below the specifications agreed with the manufacturers prior to delivery.
Yes, and indeed we have heard that it's since been withdrawn from service. We would not wish to present too gloomy a picture of the equipment in use with the RAF. I presume that the Banshee missile is an exception.
Oh, yes, sir. The vast majority of equipment operates at or above specification.
If you were intending to select information to sell to an enemy agent, would you select information concerning the Banshee?
I think that would probably be the last information I should choose.
My lord, I must object. My learned friend is leading his witness.
Yes, it's expressed as a hypothetical question, but it is directed, I think, really to illustrate whether or not the missile is important. I don't think there's any real objection to it, Mr. Dealey.
I'm obliged, my lord. Now, Squadron Leader, would you tell us about the notes that you made concerning the Banshee?
Well, there was nothing special about those notes. It's something I do every day. We all do. I made these particular notes because I was meeting a representative of the manufacturers. I took them home with me because I was going to a meeting first thing in the morning. I totally forgot about them after that.
Are you habitually forgetful?
No, I had a lot on my mind that night. I didn't deliberately take them out with me. As I've said, I just forgot I had them.
What exactly did you have on your mind?
My wife found out that I was having an affair, which had caused a lot of trouble between us. That night I was going to meet the girl and tell her it was all over.
Did your wife know that you were going to meet her?
Oh, yes, she agreed to it, as long as I wasn't late back.
Yeah. Tell us how it was this affair began.
Well, about 3 months ago, I went to a party given by a chap called Martin West. He was an old school friend. He owns a company that exports to Europe a great deal. At this party, I met a girl called Renata Scheckler. She told me she was German and worked in London as an au pair.
You believed that to be true?
I had no reason not to.
And what happened?
The party went on a bit late. Renata had had quite a bit to drink, or we both had, really, and we ended up going to bed together. We saw each other again after that until the night of the accident.
How often?
Once, twice a week. It was difficult, really, me being up here and her working in London.
Yes, well, where did you meet?
In and around Fulchester.
And where did you go to pursue this affair?
It was all a bit sordid, really. It was in the back of my car.
Did you ever telephone her or visit her home?
No, I never knew her telephone number or her address. She explained to me that the family she worked for didn't permit her calls or visitors at the house. She didn't want to lose her job.
And how did you maintain contact?
I gave her the telephone number of a call box just outside the camp. She phoned me Mondays and Thursdays at 6.
Yes. Now, I'd like you to look at this photograph, exhibit number 1, please. When was this taken?
The night of the party where we first met.
A professional photographer?
No, it was just a chap with a Polaroid. It was a bit of fun, really.
Did Renata Scheckler know that it was taken?
Yes, we had a laugh about it afterwards.
Yes, thank you. Now, let's come to the night of the 23rd of September. Tell us what happened after you left home.
I made arrangements to meet Renata at Fulchester Station. And then we were driving to a pub I know when the accident occurred.
We've heard no mention so far of what caused the accident. Perhaps you can help us there.
It was totally my fault. I lost control of the vehicle.
Oh, why was that?
I just told Renata that I didn't intend to see her anymore. She was silent for a while, and then she said, "I love you, Colin." And I looked towards her, and she'd taken a penknife out of her handbag, and she had the point at her throat, and she said, "If you leave me, I'll kill myself." Well, it was a total shock to me. I always thought she'd been light-hearted about the affair. I had no idea. When I came to, I was in hospital.
Why do you think the girl did not tell you her real name and occupation?
I don't know. I've thought about that. You see, Martin West, all the other people at the party knew her as Renata Scheckler. Perhaps she thought she was more socially acceptable as a German, and as I'd been introduced to her as Renata, perhaps it was too late for her to tell the truth.
Did she ever ask you to pass information about your work to her?
No, never.
Have you ever passed information to her or to any other person?
No, I couldn't do that.
Thank you. Stay where you are, please.
I would like you to look at this photograph again. Leonora Kopek, and let us use her real name, shall we? Is looking up at the ceiling. Now, I suggest to you that she was never aware that this photograph was ever taken.
Not at the time, I don't think, but I showed it to her later.
We only have your word for that, don't we? Unless, of course, we're going to hear from the photographer or this Martin West.
Well, I didn't know anybody at the party, and I think Martin West is abroad.
So we do indeed have to rely on your word.
I'm afraid you do, yes.
And you admit to being a liar, don't you? Very well, you don't have to answer that. How did your wife first find out about this sordid affair, as you yourself have described it?
I don't know, she just found out, that's all. I didn't deny it.
Why not?
I can't explain it, really. I find it very difficult to lie to her.
Do you normally wear uniform on the camp?
Yes.
So when you took these notes that we've heard so much about, you were in uniform, were you?
Yes.
But when you went to meet Leonora Kopek that night, you were in civilian clothes.
Yes, that's right.
You changed at home?
Yes.
Tell us then, if you'd forgotten all about these notes, how it was that you removed them from your uniform as you changed and put them into your civilian clothes.
Well, I hadn't thought about that.
Evidently. Well?
Well, they were in my wallet. The policeman said he found them in my wallet, so presumably I just changed the wallet over. I forgot about them after that.
I see. Tell me, when you went to this party where you met Leonora Kopek, had you already written down the telephone number of this call box outside the camp? Ready in the event of commencing an affair with a girl whom you could not telephone or call on yourself?
No, of course not.
You just remembered the number then, did you?
No.
Well, if you could not contact her, and she did not have this telephone, how did you get in touch with her on the very first occasion after the party?
Well, I can't remember.
Do try. I'm sure you'll think of something.
Well, I don't know. We just met at a pub I knew in Fulchester, and in the meantime I'd got the number of a call box and gave it to her when we met.
That squadron leader, Pardo, is an obvious and deliberate lie.
No, it isn't.
Just like the rest of your evidence. This wasn't just an affair, was it? Not just scrambles in the back of a car. Once Leonora Kopek had met you at that party, she had you hooked. She found out you were short of money and she offered you a deal.
No, it wasn't like that.
She offered you the two things that you could not resist, sex and money.
No!
You sold out, didn't you, Pardo? And the only thing you're sorry for is getting caught. You went out that night with the sole purpose of passing classified information to a foreign agent, Leonora Kopek. You're a traitor, Pardo. A traitor.
The case of the Queen against Pardo will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court. Sex and money, say the prosecution, were the reasons why squadron leader Colin Pardo was prepared to pass classified information regarding the Banshee air-to-air missile to an enemy agent, Leonora Kopek. He admits having an affair with this woman, who he says he knew as Renata Scheckler, a German au pair, but denies that she was an agent or that he ever intended to pass information to her.
I call Desmond Cross.
Although the identification of Leonora Kopek as an agent might be open to debate, Squadron Leader Pardo has been sometimes less than totally convincing under cross-examination. The case for the defence continues.
What is your religion?
Church of England.
Take the book in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Are you Desmond Cross of 48 Whittam Avenue, London Colony?
I am.
How are you employed, please?
I am Assistant Marketing Director for Colony Electronics, a subsidiary of DBI International.
And what does Colony Electronics produce?
Well, we don't operate a production line. We manufacture to order. Mainly our work is on government contracts.
Did one of the contracts include the Banshee missile?
Well, we don't manufacture the missile, but we did design and produce the guidance system.
And has that guidance system proved satisfactory?
I'm afraid it hasn't. We must face the fact that there were inherent design faults which we have been unable to rectify, almost entirely in the guidance system.
And what has been the result of that?
Well, the result is that the weapon has failed to operate to the specifications upon which the production order was promulgated.
In layman's terms, it didn't hit its target often enough?
Putting it broadly, yes.
And we've heard that, in fact, the weapon has now been withdrawn from service.
It has. I should like to say, however, that my firm has a very high reputation for the efficiency of its products. The faults this weapon displayed are very much an exception to an otherwise high standard.
Yes, I'm sure that's so, Mr. Cross. However, it is my client who is on trial here and not your company.
Quite so.
Yes, now, there's something I would like to ask you, Mr. Cross.
Yes, my lord?
How long was this Banshee in operational service?
Almost exactly 3 years, my lord.
And I presume there was a meeting at which a final decision was made to withdraw the missile.
Yes.
Were you present at that meeting?
Yes, my lord, I was.
Well, now, apart from its malfunctioning, was there any other reason that the missile was withdrawn?
I'm not sure I understand, my lord.
Well, you see, we have a substantial coincidence here. Throughout its life, this missile was operated below standard. Now, after 18 months of its life, it was the subject of a speculative article in an international magazine which afforded the world details of its operation.
Yes.
The missile was not withdrawn. Another 18 months elapses, and Squadron Leader Pardo is charged with passing knowledge of its details to an enemy agent. Within 2 weeks, the weapon was withdrawn. Now, what I want to know is whether this was a coincidence or whether the alleged activities of the squadron leader had in any way an effect upon the decision made to withdraw the missile.
Oh, I see what you're getting at, my lord. The meeting to decide the future of the weapon was arranged a long time before the squadron leader was arrested. We all knew, I think, that it would be withdrawn. So I cannot see that anything he may have done could have affected the decision.
So whether or not the squadron leader had passed information to an enemy agent had no effect upon the decision taken at that meeting.
I would say not, my lord.
Thank you, Mr. Cross.
Obliged, my lord. Now, Mr. Cross, have you ever met the defendant, Squadron Leader Pardo?
Oh, yes, several times.
For what reasons?
Well, fault rectification on the Banshee, usually.
And nothing else?
Well, we occasionally discussed other matters.
Matters covered by security regulations?
Everything I do is. Certainly we discussed other things more secret than the Banshee, if that's what you mean.
Thank you. Now, when did you last see the defendant?
Well, I can't give you the exact date. It was about a month before he was charged, I think. We had a meeting lined up, but...
But what?
Well, it was for the day after he had this accident, so naturally it didn't take place.
So you had a meeting arranged with the defendant for the 24th of September last?
Yes, that's right.
What was the purpose of that meeting?
Oh, further discussion on modifications on the guidance system of the Banshee. They were experiencing operational troubles yet again. We were constantly trying to remove the bugs, as it were.
Yes. How did you prepare for the meeting?
Well, I studied the particular problems we intended to discuss. I collected the data I needed, made notes.
Made notes? You expected Squadron Leader Pardo to have done the same thing?
Oh, yes, of course.
Was the defendant the only officer with whom you had these rectification meetings with?
Half my time was taken up with these meetings. I had officers on my back from every station that operated the missile.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Cross. Remain where you are, please.
As an expert, Mr. Cross, if information came into your hands to the effect that a missile developed by an enemy was operationally defective, would that be of value, of interest to you?
Oh, yes, especially if I knew the reasons why it was defective.
No further questions, my lord.
Has your lordship any further questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Harbiston.
Thank you, then, Mr. Cross. You may leave the witness box. I call Jane Pardo.
Jane Pardo, please.
You are Jane Elizabeth Pardo of Cortland, Hedgeway, Fulchester?
Yes,
Are you employed?
I'm a housewife.
You are the wife of the defendant, Squadron Leader Colin Pardo?
Yes, I am.
Your husband is charged with spying. What have you to say about that?
It's absolute rubbish. I know him better than anyone else in the world. He's not capable of betraying his country. It just isn't in him.
How long have you been married?
9 years.
And are there children of the marriage?
Yes, there's a boy of 6 and a little girl. She's 4.
A happy marriage, Mrs. Pardo?
On the whole, yes. Very.
Group Captain Porterman has told us that a couple of weeks before the accident, you spoke to him about something that was upsetting you.
Yes, I didn't know what to do. You see, since my parents died, he's the only person I really feel I can talk to. And I knew that Colin was having another affair.
There had been others.
Yes, but I thought he was beginning to come to his senses.
Your husband admitted that he was having an affair?
Yes.
Admitted it straight away?
No, after a few days.
Did you ever discover who the other woman was?
He said it was a German girl that he'd met in London.
Did he tell you her name?
No. I think he would have done. I didn't want to know her name or anything about her. I just wanted him to give her up.
And did he eventually agree to do so?
Yes.
But he had to tell her that.
Yes. That's where he was on the night of the accident.
He went with your permission.
Yes, I wanted him to tell her it was finished. I wanted her to know that it was all over.
Now, your husband has told us, Mrs. Pardo, that on the night of the 23rd of September, he arrived home wearing his uniform and later he changed. Do you recall that?
Yes, I'd put the children to bed early. He didn't want anything to eat and he went upstairs to get changed.
Did you go with him?
Yes, we were talking.
What about?
Well, about ending the affair. He's a bit soft-hearted. I wanted to make sure he really told her it was all over.
Now, did you see your husband remove the contents from the pockets of his uniform?
Yes, he took everything out to transfer it to the suit he was wearing.
Did you see anything unusual among his possessions? I mean, anything that he would not normally have with him?
No, and I did look because I thought he might have something of hers, a photograph or a letter or something, but there were just the usual things, his wallet, his cigarettes, lighter.
Did you look inside the wallet?
No, I drew the line at that. Well, at least while he was there.
How was your husband just before he left the house?
Well, he was very nervous. He knew I was angry with him, and he wasn't looking forward to telling her that it was all over.
You mean he regretted the end of the affair?
No, but I gathered that she took it all rather more seriously than he did.
When you first discovered this affair, what action did you take?
I confronted him with it, and he denied it. I knew he was lying. The atmosphere was awful. I went to see Roger, Group Captain Porterman, and he persuaded me I must keep on trying, if only for the sake of the children.
But did you do anything else?
I stopped contributing to the family finances.
Now, was that contribution considerable?
Yes, it was.
You knew that this would place your husband into difficulties? He was, in fact, unable to pay a small mess bill.
I know, I was sorry, but I didn't see why I should pay for my husband's sexual escapades.
Mrs. Pardo, do you love your husband?
Yes, I do.
A different question, then. Are you in love with him?
That was exactly what I meant.
So there's nothing in the world that you wouldn't do for this man?
He knows that. It's no secret.
Despite the pain that he's caused you?
Yes.
Would you commit perjury for him?
He wouldn't ask it of me.
I'll ask you again. Would you commit perjury for him?
God forgive me, yes, I think I would.
And have you?
No, it hasn't been necessary.
But you would do it? To protect him?
Yes, I've said so.
I see. Now, what else would you do to protect your husband? Perhaps condone his involvement in spying?
No.
Ah. You would commit perjury, but you would not condone his involvement in spying. That's where you draw the line, is it?
My husband is not a spy. You've set a trap for me with words. However I answer, I must be seen to disadvantage. It appears that telling the truth doesn't always bring a just reward, even in a court of law.
We are merely trying to establish how far you would go to protect your husband, that's all. And I think we've done that conclusively. We can go on to something different now. Does your husband discuss his problems with you?
Yes.
His work problems?
Well, sometimes, in general terms.
So you were aware that he was having difficulty with this Banshee missile?
Yes.
That it was not operating effectively?
Yes.
Not very wise to discuss these professional problems at home, is it? It might tend to show some disrespect for security regulations.
Not in the case of this particular missile.
Really?
About 18 months ago, I bought him a magazine. I thought it would interest him because there was a long article in it all about the Banshee.
Ah, I see. What was your husband's reaction to the publication of this article?
He was rather amused.
Why was that?
Well, he thought it was ironic that so much time and trouble was taken by the security services to deal with individuals, and an international publishing company could do what it liked without being brought to account. He also said that half the article was hogwash, that anyone with any specialized knowledge would find it difficult to accept the true parts because the rest of it was so ridiculous.
Ah. Now, Group Captain Porterman has said that you're a woman of independent means.
Yes.
How did this come about?
I was the only beneficiary of my parents' estate and an only child.
And when did you come into this estate?
It was about 11 years ago.
That was before you were married?
Yes.
And your husband knew that you had this money before you got married?
Yes.
I see.
We married because we were in love, both of us.
Oh, I'm sure you're right, Mrs. Pardo. And over the years, you've used this money, haven't you, to maintain a higher standard of living than your husband's salary would allow. Now, does this mean that your capital is substantially reduced after 9 years of marriage?
Well, yes, but Colin's salary is increased to compensate for it.
Not sufficiently, apparently, because when you did withdraw your financial support, he was unable to pay a mess bill of £7.52.
He would have been able to settle his debts with his salary cheque at the end of the month.
Perhaps. The fact is it not, Mrs. Pardo, that you as a family face the imminent prospect of a substantial reduction in your standard of living?
We could have gone on for a lot longer if it hadn't been for the costs of defending this ludicrous case.
Be that as it may, you and your husband were both well aware that your resources were rapidly dwindling. Now, not true?
Yes.
And you were not looking forward to that, were you?
Who would?
Exactly. How did you find out that your husband was having this affair?
I just knew.
Ah, female intuition?
If you like.
There's no secret letters, lipstick on the collar?
No.
Ah, you just knew?
Yes.
Well, could you explain that, please, to a mere male?
Well, I don't know. He seems to withdraw part of himself. It's the way he talks and acts.
He denied it at first, didn't he? He lied to you?
Yes.
Well, how did you know that he was not telling the truth? How could you be sure?
Because he's a very bad liar. When he's lying, you can tell it's written all over his face.
Yes, I think we understand. How many times did your husband make love to this woman?
What a question. I don't know.
Once, perhaps?
Perhaps, but I doubt it.
You didn't ask?
No, I didn't want to know details like that.
Oh, I should have thought you might have been curious to know about this woman and what she and your husband were up to.
Look, I didn't want to know anything about her. I just wanted to be able to forget her. The more you know about a person, the less easy it is to forget them. The same goes for what they did. Doesn't that make any sense to you?
You allowed your husband to go and see this woman one last time, didn't you?
Yes.
Now, she telephoned him twice a week, or so your husband has told us. Wouldn't you have preferred him to have said his goodbyes over the phone, rather than having the necessity of actually going to see her again?
Yes, I would. I just didn't think of it. So I let him see her.
You see, Mrs. Pardo, despite the fact that you love your husband, it does seem that you don't care very much about these affairs of his.
But I do care. Of course I do.
You have shown remarkably little interest in this woman who usurped you. If I may say so, you have shown remarkable self-possession. Now, one wonders why this must be. One must ask if there is a reason for it.
I don't understand.
Now, whatever may have happened in the past, I suggest to you, as you are well aware, that except for the very first night that he met Leonora Kopek, your husband had no sexual contact with this woman at all. She was no danger to you. In fact, she was a blessing in disguise.
I'm sorry, you're not making yourself clear.
I put it to you that apart from that very first night that he met Leonora Kopek, their meetings were purely business, the exchange of information for cash, and you knew it.
No!
He knew that you were running out of money, and Providence provided a way out. What started out as a sexual romp ended up as a business partnership.
That's not true!
You know that, and you're protecting your husband, aren't you? You don't care what he's done. Anything, so long as you can keep him.
You're lying! You're just standing there lying!
Your husband is a spy, Mrs. Pardo, and you know it, don't you?
No, he is not a spy, damn you! He is not a spy!
Jane. I've no further questions, my lord.
I'm sorry, Colin. I'm sorry.
That concludes the case for the defence, my lord.
Members of the jury, much of the evidence in this case might tend only to confuse issues which are in fact absolutely crystal clear. I ask you to consider the wording of the charge, part of which reads, "For a purpose prejudicial to the safety or interests of the state, did make notes which might be directly or indirectly useful to an enemy." That, and only that, is what the prosecution have to prove. Now, we heard that the accused made these notes, and from professional witnesses, that negative information concerning this missile, inefficient though it may be, is of value to an enemy. So, if we know that these notes were useful to an enemy, then such information must therefore also be prejudicial to the interests of the state. Now, the only remaining factor, I submit, is the purpose for which the accused had these notes on the night of September the 23rd. Leonora Kopek has been identified as a spy. Now, can we sincerely believe that she was this interpreter with no language qualifications, but scientific qualifications, who decamps from this hospital and is flown out of the country the very next day? I think not. So, we have the accused in possession of these notes in the company of a spy. Now, how much credence can we place on his evidence that he was simply conducting an affair with this woman? You have seen and heard him give evidence, and I don't think it's necessary for me to dwell on his hesitant, and you may think inadequate replies to questions concerning his relationship with Leonora Kopek. No, the truth is clear. She recruited him by sex and kept him by offers of money. And in his case, this was a deadly combination. Now, perhaps we have not even now heard the whole truth of this matter, but remember that the object of this trial is not to tie down every tiny element of truth, but to establish on the basis of admissible evidence whether or not the accused is guilty or not guilty of the offences he's charged with. And on this basis, I submit that the only verdict open to you is one of guilty.
Members of the jury, there are really only two issues here. Is Leonora Kopek a spy? And did the accused have those notes in his possession on the night of the accident in order to impart them to her? If Leonora Kopek is a spy, she must be the most inept spy that ever was. She was frequently seen in public with her contact. She sought useless information about a weapon so uncertain in performance that it's now been withdrawn from service, when the defendant had knowledge of far greater value. She allowed herself to be photographed with him, and finally, she ran away in a panic from the hospital, thus precipitating the very events which have led to this trial. An enemy agent? Surely not. I make no excuses for the morals of the defendant. He is, however, not on trial for infidelity, but for spying. Now, what are these notes? We've heard that it was required of the defendant to make them as part of his normal work. It was proper for him to take them to the meeting which was due to take place the morning after the accident. Now, bearing in mind the weight of his personal problems, is it really so hard to believe that he simply forgot that they were in his wallet? I would think not. Is there any evidence that he deliberately took them so that he could impart them to an enemy? Or that at any time that was his intention? Members of the jury, I submit there is no evidence. But you may well think that the defendant was right when, after reading that article on the Banshee, he made his wry comment about the eagerness of authority to prosecute the individual and let the big boys go free. That magazine published operational details of the Banshee missile 18 months ago. But are the publishers on trial? No, my client is an easier target. It is in your hands, members of the jury, to see that he is afforded the protection of justice. Reason, common sense, and the weight of evidence point to a verdict of not guilty, and that is the verdict which I ask you to return.
Now, members of the jury, it is my task to instruct you in the law in this case, for you and you alone are the judges of fact. Now, here my task is relatively easy. First, I must tell you that it is the duty of the prosecution to prove its case beyond all reasonable doubt. Then there is a point upon which I think you may welcome some advice, and it is this. The offence in this case is not one of recreating or attempting to reveal secrets, but of making notes which were calculated to be, or might be, or were intended to be, useful to an enemy, and this must be done for a purpose prejudicial to the safety of the state. So, one of the vital questions is whether or not these notes were useful to an enemy, notwithstanding that the information in them had already been published in a magazine. Now, there is another point. Now, it is for you to decide whether or not this woman, Leonora Kopek, or Renata Scheckler, as the accused called her, was a foreign agent. Now, there certainly has been some mystery about this woman, but it is for you to decide whether or not she was a spy, and that the accused knew her to be a spy and was passing information to her. Now, members of the jury, will you kindly retire to consider your verdict?
All stand. Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Just answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict on which you're all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Squadron Leader Pardo, you are free to go.
All stand.
Next week, a chance to join another jury in assessing the facts when our cameras return to watch a leading case in the Crown Court.